talking to the only two Whams I know of, George and Andrew.
The only Whams with the exclusive right to the name.
Hallelujah, right? It took you long enough.
Yeah, it did. It took us a long time.
That's
a long
just
time.
been settled.
Yeah,
Lots of
about 2 months ago.
Yeah, 2 months ago.
Plenty of greenbacks, but never mind.
Oh, it required a little bit of grease.
A touch of coaxing, yes.
What a drag. And let's see. First things first. George, your birthday, if I'm not mistaken, June 26, 1963?
Not
Man,
bad.
who's researched.
Not bad.
Definitely.
No, 25th.
Oh. I don't even know when my birthday is.
You're the 25th.
I'm on the 25th.
All right. Andrew, I couldn't get yours other than January.
Yeah.
Andrew, you see,
26th.
Andrew hasn't got a birthday. Andrew was what's that? A visitation.
So
He
yours
just
is
appeared.
January the 26th?
Yeah.
They just got things a little...
Yeah, that's right.
screwed
Yeah,
up
it's
in the-
all J the 25th and 6th.
Is it Watford? Where you guys are from?
Near Watford.
Bushy and Radlett, near Watford. Yeah. Which is a satellite town of London.
Yeah, it's
which
one of those.
is one of the bigger cities in Britain.
What do you remember growing up? Easy times, hard times?
Yeah, fun. Easy
Fun,
times.
easy times, good times.
We were lucky. We had an easy time as kids. Compared to some.
Yeah. I mean, you
we
know.
had easy times.
What your folks do? Yeah.
My mother's teacher. She teaches
Young pop stars.
7 to 11 year olds, and my father is an executive with Canon Cameras UK.
What about you, George? What your folks do?
My father is a restaurateur, and my mother has been helping him at his restaurant for as long as I can remember. She's now becoming a leisurely housewife, and spends most of her time beaming at me and telling the world how proud she is of me. You know, which is
cheeks and things like
that's
that.
right. Yeah, no, she doesn't actually pinch. Actually, she does pinch cheeks. She does every time I get a number one. She manages to pinch a cheek, which is like quite embarrassing.
Better than pinching your bottom, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah, true.
Who were some of your early musical influences? Who did you like listening to, and who subliminally captured your thoughts?
Earliest memories are of, for me, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, not period, but the early Beatles and the early Rolling Stones, because my mother used to have those albums, and Elvis Presley.
I think my first influences were a couple of Motown records I had by the Supremes. I had Stop in the Name of Love and I had Baby Love, but Baby Love had a big chip out of it. So I used to kind of let it go round the turntable, then lift the needle up and put it back down again. So I probably got the lines all back to front, but I got the gist of it. You know, I knew that what I was listening to was good.
Huh. Were you listening to Radio Caroline back then?
No. That was a bit of a hippie station, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Radio Caroline. Concept albums and everything.
Right. We didn't. When I think I started listening to, as far as I can remember, really listening to radio from about. I don't know. Actually, Capital Radio. I can only really remember Capital Radio because it was brand new.
So that would have been about 10 or 11. You were. Because that was 1973 that started. But we're both very much radio buyers, you know, we're singles buyers still, you know. I mean, we never bothered to try and get free singles because they take too long to come through, so you go out and buy the ones you like.
Always pursuing music from as long as you can remember. When did you first pick up an instrument? All right.
Yeah. Well, I was I learnt the piano when I was 5 for about 2-3 years, and I didn't like my teacher, so I gave it up, and I didn't have actually any enthusiasm for it anymore because I disliked my teacher so much. So I didn't go on to learn it elsewhere. And of course, you know, your mother and father say you'll regret it when you're 16 and 18, and I regretted it when I was 16 and 18. But I don't feel bitter. I hit George occasionally.
So teach me a piano chord.
That takes it out of me, you know.
I was listening to music when I was very, very young. I was listening to music. I got my first cassette player when I was about 7, and never actually spent any time doing anything else but listening to music from that day onwards. I don't actually remember what I did before that. It was almost like, I know I had those few records in the garage. As I said, I had 2 Supremes record and 1 Tom Jones record, but that didn't actually, after a while that became rather boring. So I don't know what I did. I know I wanted to be a pilot until I was about 7, and then 2 things happened. One, they told me at school that I was partially colourblind, so any ideas of pilotism any ideas of flying a plane were out of the window. And then at the same time I got my first cassette player, as I said, and recorded songs off the radio and listened to them in my room all the time. And from that age onwards, I wanted to be a pop star, Thank God I made it.
Maybe it's that determination and that stick-to-itiveness that you get when you're that young, and you say, I'm going to go for that, if that's all you see.
I think a lot of it was that I was, not only that I was musically inclined anyway, but that I had that ambition, and my parents were so totally anti the idea that it just made me so much stronger, I think. And I think there's no doubt about it. If my parents had been encouraging me all the way, I probably would have been a lot lazier about what I wanted to do.
Did you ever have any non-musical jobs? Did you work at anything other than music?
Yeah, not professionally. I mean, filling in time as you're, getting pocket money when we were kids. I ripped off £30 on Christmas Eve to buy myself a new pair of shoes.
But I did more than just pocket money jobs. When we left school, I did a few part-time jobs that event between them made up full-time job. I was an usher in a cinema, which is a pretty awful job. But it taught me a lot about videos, I suppose. And I did that for about 9 months, and at the same time I was doing a job as a DJ in a restaurant, which is an incredibly horrible job, because you've got all these people that are stuffing their faces, and suddenly you interrupt them and say, please don't stuff your face, come and dance, and they don't really appreciate it much. They usually take an awful lot of coaxing. And I used to go into a cold sweat every night just before I did it. I mean, considering that I can get up now and in front of 10,000 people and actually have a great time and convince them that I'm somebody that I'm not, it was amazing. But that in front of 60 or 80 people that were all eating dinner, I just went to pieces. I used to actually I went through it quite well. I was quite a good DJ eventually, but every night I used to break out into a cold sweat. It's dreadful.
It's a great way to expand your musical knowledge.
It's true. Well, it's not. Being a disc jockey, it might be generally, but it's not when all you can play is like Julio Iglesias and things like that, because you're working in a restaurant.
How'd you meet one another?
At school, in high school, when we were 12. George had just moved into the area. I'd been at school a year already, and he was put in my responsibility, as it were. Put in my charge. I had to look after him, which I didn't.
And the teacher said, look, Andrew, take this boy away, bring him back, smart, street sus, with the right clothes. One day he could be a pop star. And it worked.
Did you get on right away?
Yeah, right away.
Immediately.
We had a very similar sense of humour. We had a lot of other interests. The main one being the music. We both recently bought Elton John's "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road," and that was an immediate talking point.
Do you know, this is going to turn up in all our interviews for America that we'd both bought "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road." Elton John is going to be really flattered.
What were early band names that you guys were involved with? Were you involved with separate bands at any time?
No, it's always the same one.
The Executive, which is a band we formed when I left school at 16 and I went to college. It's just a continuation of school, and that we played in that for about a year and a half with some friends. Actually, my brother and one of our friends who has a contract with EMI in England. It was really just a starting block for us as writers, but it was a useless band. I mean, the material was good, the material was great fun, but we were absolutely hopeless musicians.
It was a ska band?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. and it kind of broke up when people just couldn't manage to turn up for practices anymore and things like that.
How did the name Wham come to you? Why did you choose it?
Well, we had the song Wham Rap, and we hadn't got a name, and we knew we wanted a name that was very memorable, short, and that conveyed in some form the energy that we felt we had, and Wham seemed to fit right away.
We just thought to ourselves, would it look good big? And we decided it would.
In lights.
On Broadway. Yeah, on Broadway. But it does. I mean, it's the type of I don't know. It's the kind of name that would sound really weedy on a small band. You know, on a band that was anything other than really successful, it would sound really too imposing. But you know, when success starts to match the name, then you know you've put yourself on the right track.
Wham.
Wham. And
Why
wham.
the exclamation point?
Oh, that's simply because.
Well, it's like, you know, you used to see it with Batman, didn't you?
An expression, isn't it?
Batman had an exclamation mark.
Yeah, just a sort of what's the word?
It's
yeah. Yeah. How's it go?
I
can't do it. My lips are dry.
He's the singer.
Yeah, I mean, because I can go. See?
I used to be able to do that.
I've got them black lips.
Let's talk a little bit about that for a second. Blue-eyed soul.
Blue-eyed soul. What does that mean? Oh, does that mean white soul?
Yeah.
Blue-eyed
Much
soul.
nicer way of putting it. I like that.
It is, isn't
blue-eyed
it?
soul.
It's like, you know, blue eyes. I wish I had blue eyes. God, that'd be good. I wish I had blue eyes.
I don't.
Conscious effort, obviously. Major influence and conscious effort.
Conscious effort.
Unconscious effort.
Well, it's definitely not particularly conscious effort. You're just taking all the influences that you have and putting them into your own, you know, interpretations. I think it's good really because the black influence and the pop influence with us is so equal that no one takes priority over the other, and that's part of the reason for our success, I think. Because, you know, there's no way, we're not trying especially hard to make songs have any real black element, and we're not trying especially hard for them to be totally straight down the road pop, you know. And I think therefore they end up with that kind of 50-50 balance, which seems to fit in the charts really well these days.
Definitely so. Bad Boys, I guess, was the first song to crack the U.S. charts. Certainly wasn't your first song.
It
made a slight dent. Made a little dent in it, yeah. Bad Boys isn't a song that I'm particularly proud of as a writer. I feel it's very formularised. It was written in the wake of Young Guns, really, and I feel very proud of Young Guns, and I think in trying to actually emulate